Hello.
And then Elmo really likes that cut.
Elmo likes that deer?
Yeah.
Yeah? What are we doing today?
So there's a cutting right here.
Oh, there's a cut right there. No, that's where your daddy shot it in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Your daddy has a hard time with deer that are flopping around, so he always shoots them in the back of the head. So what are we doing today? We're making this for Liam, huh? We're gonna make this for Liam. Hello, everybody. Yep, Ella's gonna help me take the hide off this thing, and then we're gonna boil it in that water over there. Yeah, we're gonna make that for Liam, huh?
And look,
That's his first deer. Look at all those teeth in there. Yeah. So we're gonna show you some tips that I've learned over the years on how to do a European deer mount, and Ella and Elmo are gonna join along. We're gonna teach both of them along the way. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright, let's get going. Now there's a couple different ways to heat this water up. Obviously we're gonna take the hair off, but there's a couple different ways to heat this water. We picked this big container. We bought this about 6 years ago, so every year we use that. Just fits an elk skull inside there. We're obviously gonna use the fire today to heat the water. But we also have this. It's one of those bases for a turkey baster thing where you used to be able to put oil in there. I guess you still can. We'll use that sometimes, but today we had the fire going anyways. So once the coals get going, we're gonna close this up. By then we'll have Mr. Deer here, all his hair pulled off, and we'll be able to get the water going and see what he looks like.
There's blood.
Yeah, there's blood dripping down. Gross. Yeah. So what you want to use is a scalpel, because what you want to do, I'll show you how to do this, so if you ever wanted to do an actual mount of this, because he's dead. Yeah, there's blood come out his nose. So I'll show you how to cut this in case you were going to do a mount with it. Obviously you were supposed to left this hide on there about halfway down its belly, but that's a whole different other video. But I'll show you how to take the hide off from the head just in case you remember the other part. So let's get going. So you're going to want to start by making an incision from the back of between the horns here straight down. Then what you'll want to do is go at an angle down to those cuts, because then that'll help the taxidermist sew it. You want to do it on the back, all your cuts on the back, so when he sews it back up, it doesn't look horrible. Obviously you can tell there's a big hole in the side of this one, because again my son likes to shoot him in the back of the head. So we'll get cutting. Yeah, now pop, cut it, start cutting.
Freaking me out.
It's freaking you out?
Yeah.
Oh, is it kind of gross?
Yeah, it's so gross.
Oh, yucky, gross! So obviously, I'm not worried about keeping the hide on this one. The head's frozen, so I'm having a hard time getting this hide off. But I'm slowly taking little chunks off. So Ella and Elmo are getting a little grossed out here. Hopefully you're not getting too grossed out, but we'll keep going. The dog had to come check this thing out. This is the progress we've made so far. Hopefully I'm not grossing you guys out. You guys have probably already fast forwarded to this part. So here we finally got the head off, the hide off. Here's a lesson that I learned on this one. I always learn lessons. Never try this when they're frozen. That was a pain in the butt trying to get that hide off when it was frozen. You can see that I missed a bunch of this stuff that normally I would get off of here. Same with the hair up against, but what I'm going to go ahead and do is just boil this off now. That's what you do. Take them and throw them in the pot and make deer stew. And what you're doing is you're boiling all the meat and everything off there. So when you take it out, you can just pluck the meat off. I wanted to show you what happens when you put this hide in the fire. It's kind of gross. Good way to get rid of it. Obviously you cannot smell the deer hair, but it's a good way to get rid of the hair. Again, very disgusting. but it was kind of cool to watch. So hopefully your stomach's still not turning and you're still watching this video. So another important thing is if you've ever watched videos on making European skulls, you'll hear about them using bleach and hydrogen peroxide. Don't make mistakes that like I did. Don't add your bleach to this water right here. Go ahead and just add some dish soap. Don't add anything to it, just water. What you'll want to do with the hydrogen peroxide or bleach is when you're done getting every piece of meat off that you can, boil it again. Then you'll use either hydrogen peroxide or bleach to just kind of treat the skull. If you boil it with the bleach, it actually will soften up the skull and you won't have problems with parts of the nose breaking off and stuff if you're going to do a full head one or a full nose one. On this one we're actually cutting the nose off, so I wouldn't be too worried about it, but I don't want to soften up his skull any. So we're just going to boil it in some dish soap and start pulling meat off of it.
By the camera.
Oh, what do you think of the deer head?
Gross.
Is it gross?
Disgusting.
Oh, disgusting. So as you're boiling this thing, the meat will just start cooking on it. So then what happens is you can just start peeling everything apart. I'm going to give it a little bit longer to cook. Then we'll start pulling some of the meat off, getting that bottom jaw off, and doing some more. So boil away. So after boiling for a little bit, Elmo had this great idea.
Yeah, it was my idea.
Yeah, it was his idea to take this thing and kind of pry on that jaw. And it worked perfect. Jaw popped off of it. So now what we're going to do is just keep boiling this down. Get away from the steam. Just keep boiling this down. And get all that meat nice and soft so we can just pull it off. Kind of worked in our favor that he blew half the brains out, because it'll actually make a nice skull. So we'll just keep boiling it down and we'll show you what goes on next. So Elmo and I wanted to show you our progress. There's the horns in there. We're just about done with them. I wanted to show you something on this one. Sometimes when we do horns, we'll leave this bottom part of the skull on here, not the bottom jaw, but the bottom of the skull right here. You can see that there's a bone right here that comes up to here. Now you have two choices. You can either leave the skull like this, or you can take this part off, this bottom stuff, because there is a lot of membranes in here. This one got cracked, so I thought I'd show you all the membranes and stuff that are inside. So if you do keep this part, you do have a lot of stuff in here that gets to be fun to try to clean out and stuff. But what we did on Liam's deer is just took all those off, because I'll show you a little bit later what our plan is for Liam's horns. You want to grab those out, Elmo?
No, that's too hot. You grab them.
All right, fine. I'll grab them and show everybody how it's going. See, that's what it looks like now. What we've done is we broke the rest of that skull off, like you can see on that one. We've pulled off as much meat as we can. We're just doing a last little boil on this. All that's in there again in this water is just soap. That's all we put in there.
Dish soap. We're doing dishes.
Well, we're not doing dishes, but dish soap works just fine. Now, you don't want to boil it too long because you're going to soften it up. Right now we've got it pretty softened, so you want to be careful of that. I've got a couple choices after this. Well, your face is dirty.
Yes, it is very dirty.
After this stage, you can clean it off with either hydrogen peroxide or bleach. We're actually going to choose hydrogen peroxide. We just have to go get some. Wife said I used it all.
Did you get so many hours?
Yes, you get so many hours. That was kind of cool. You were talking without your mouth moving.
There, that better?
Yeah, that's much better. Your mouth was not moving and you were talking.
I was being a ventriloquist.
Yes, you were being a ventriloquist. So we'll show you the bleaching process or hydrogen peroxide. We might even change our mind, who knows. And then I'll show you what we're going to be doing with these horns.
Yay, it's for Liam's birthday, or not birthday, Christmas. I'm all goofed up on holidays.
Yeah, we're going to give it to him for Christmas this year. This is his Christmas present from Nana, I, Elmo, and even his sister Ella.
Yay, happy Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Liam's horns, what I want to do is have it lay flat. Right now it's, you can see it's cradling on here. And I'll show you later why I need this to lay nice and flat. So what we're going to do, flip this upside down. Right here is a good point where it'll lay nice and flat. So what we're going to do is take the old Dremel tool and go off of that as our height and get rid of all this. And then match up with that other eye socket bone over there. So I'm going to shut you guys off while I cut through all this. And I'll show you why later, why I need to do that with this one. So as you can see, we cut that flush right there. And what that allows us to do is put these horns nice and flush up against our surface. And I'll show you why that was so important on this one. Normally you could have left that alone and still mounted that on a board or something. But for what we're doing, we need it nice and flat. We want that nose up against the item that we're going to be using, and we'll show you what that is here in a minute. Here's the underside of that skull, and as you can see, I still got the back of this eye socket here, the back of this eye socket here, actually the back of this skull. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some holes in there, and I'm going to be able to run a wire through. Again, I'll probably go ahead and go into that eye socket there and that eye socket there, because again, my other son, my oldest son, blew this part of the skull apart, so we're going to have to improvise and go in there, and I'll show you why we did that. I was going to have Elmo do this, but he hates the smell of burning bones.
It's so gross.
Yeah, he's standing on the other side of the garage. He just can't stand the smell. So when I get done, I'll show you what we're going to do. So this is the surprise we've been working on for my grandson Liam. It's kind of hard to see because of the glare in here. It's a matte finish on here. So you can see this was a picture that my oldest son had taken of his kid, my grandson, with his first deer. So I wanted to take those horns, and what I'm doing is I'm going to mount them right there on this picture. On the back of the canvas, I figured out where I need this support brace to be, and then what I'm going to do is find out where the holes on that skull are, and I'm going to drill through that canvas, through this board, and then I'm going to run a wire in through this side, through the horns, through those eye sockets, come back out this side, and that's what's going to hold those horns on there. And then I have some clear silicone I'm also going to put underneath the skull when I clamp it all down, and that should help hold that skull on there for ever and ever. We have the skull wired through there, and as you can see, the nose is still sticking up right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some clear silicone up underneath the skull here and then press it down. I didn't want to cover up that orange vest. I didn't mean to do that, but that's kind of where my board ended up. So That's what it's going to look like. I won't make you watch me put the silicone in there, but I'm going to try to keep it from coming out the sides and stuff, just to keep it nice and clean. Wish me luck. So here I had Elmo help me shoot some silicone down in there wherever the bone was touching the canvas.
I did a really good job.
Yeah, for having little fuzzy hands, he didn't do too bad without having it poke through the out of the bone and showing up on the print.
What are you talking about, my fuzzy hands?
Yep, fuzzy hands. So what we're gonna do is we put this container of bolts on it to hold that nose down, and we're gonna leave it sit here overnight, and we'll show you what the thing looks like when it's standing up.
Hey, it's gonna be very cool. He's gonna love it.
Yes, he's gonna love this present.
Yay! Merry Christmas, Liam!
They say that Jesus saves. I've seen none of that down here. I see people with the hunger. I see people with the fear. And I can see